Because on a general scale, really, there seems to be that apathy, perhaps informed by lack of
no, but I would disagree with that, because I think, unlike before, at the level of awareness in terms of enthusiasm to participate has kind of taken an upward swing. In time past, you find that people, except for probably the 1993 election, when people trooped out in mass for that election that was eventually annulled. But I'll see that the people, the electorate, are kind of getting ready, and they want their vote to count. I mean, when you imagine people lining up and staying all day at the INEC office or whatever to collect their PVCs, it shows.
Yeah, but Prof said the other time that we need a lot of political education.
Yes,
it's one thing to be informed. It's another thing to be educated. Information gives you awareness.
Yeah.
Are we educated? Is the electorate educated about the consequences? You know, the president talked about that yesterday. The consequences of whatever action or inaction we take in this election.
Perhaps not as educated as one would have loved it to be. Perhaps not as. But awareness, there is. But education, to the extent that you want to ask, why would you risk your life? Why would you kill yourselves because of an election? Why would we become a willing vessel or willing tool to be used as thugs for election? That is the essence of education. Yes, we have awareness, we have information, a lot of information. Give it to our INEC. You know, they've pushed out a lot of information. They've done so much of trying to create that awareness. But probably, I agree that the education is still somehow.
Yeah. Is it likely to play have any effect on this election?
It will, to the extent that if people are not well educated or knowing that election is not a do-or-die affair, it's about a change. Government is a continuum, and as long as a continuum, if whatever you get this year you don't like it, in 4 years' time you can change again, but not to kill yourself as if 4 years is going to be eternity.
But so, truly, on education, does the buck stop with INEC solely? Because we have political parties who should actually drive some education as well.
And we also have NOA.
Yes, indeed. Now, I remember INEC, the CPS, Chief Press Secretary, mentioned how even social media, not a lot of people were following the handle INEC. So he was a little worried that, you know, lots of the young people on social media don't really actually know what's happening.
I agree. The political parties need to do more because I don't think that they're doing as much, because most of them are only galvanizing, preparing themselves for the election in terms of getting votes, but not in terms of, you know, taking it on themselves to be the people or the body that will do education. I mean, educating your party members to the core about the need to be patient, to forbear, the need to be vigilant, but to be respectable, or these things. But I don't think there is. All we see most of the parties doing is, you know, hitting up the polity in trying to, you know, get their own votes and things like that. So that can also cause a lot of disservice to the system.
Okay, well, I understand that Dr. Orji is back from Anambra. I was trying to find out from you, Dr. Orji, what the level of preparedness of the electorate in Anambra State is. How well aware, how educated are they about the process that they're going to be going through tomorrow?
You know, Anambra usually will have very, very low voter turnout. There's a very high level of apathy in the state in the past. But in the past few months or few years, we have seen a very high interest in politics. The number of people that registered as voters in Anambra was quite tremendous between the period 2017 to 2019. To 2018. So that's an indication that we should expect more people to participate in this process. We have also seen very high level of PVC collection in recent times. It's been almost 70%, so 75% PVC collection. So that's an indication that things are going to improve in the coming days.
There's also the international, well, the global interest in people living with disabilities. I hope there's there's adequate preparation for them as well.
Of course, as a commission, we have tried to engage people living with disabilities. We're working with the framework that the commission has designed as its guide in terms of its engagement with PWDs. Here in the state, we have had forums with them, and you know, we have a quite good relationship with them. For the election that is coming up tomorrow, we have received Braille for the blind, and we have tactile ballot papers for those that will require it. So we are quite ready for an inclusive process.
Perhaps one final question might be that in terms of PVC and you know, the PVC collected, a lot of people are wondering, can you give us perhaps, you know, a list of numbers, what you have or what were uncollected? Do you have official figures?
We have official figures. In terms of the registration that were conducted from 12th of February 2018 up until 31st of August 2018, for that we received a total of 454,000 PVCs. And then for that period, we were able to give out quite a good number. What remains in our storage is 191,000 for that period.
Well, could you just verify for us, because the reports we have was the figures I mentioned about the 4,695 cartridges that were destroyed in that inferno. It said that it was initial assessment. Is that the final number of cars that were burnt that you're replacing?
Yes, that's the final number. Because these smart card readers were the smart card readers we have prepared for election for 17 local government areas. So that were the final figures, and that's what we received the replacements for.
Okay, but concerning those who complained about picking up their permanent voter cards in terms of availability, and some of them asking or saying, alleging that some members of the commission were asking them to part with something before they could pick up their cards. How credible are those reports?
I doubt many of those reports. We took measures to ensure that we check our staff. Part of the measures we took was to make sure that we engage the security agencies to oversee this process, watch over their shoulders, and find out if there are people that are engaged in foul play. But as we speak, we haven't received any report of any arrest from the security agencies or anything of that matter. We have also put up our own internal processes. We created a help desk line for the members of the public to call us and inform us, give us details of any infraction. But as we speak, we haven't received any helpful information from members of the public. All we get is some of these insinuations that we get in the social media and in the traditional media.
I know that there were reports that security agencies are manning those areas now to ensure that that doesn't happen again. Is that the case at the moment?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so on election day now, when is it? I know they can't pick up any permanent voter cards now, but in terms of the briefing that you have of politicians, will there be any further briefing other than the ones you've done before in terms of how they need to conduct themselves and then submitting the list of their party agents with the pictures as INEC requested?
No. We have concluded our stakeholder engagement. The last engagement we have was on Tuesday this week. We had a statewide forum where we invited all the parties, all the candidates. We invited the election observers and the security agencies, as well as other stakeholders, the traditional rulers and the religious leaders. That was the last engagement that we have, in the run-up to the election.
All right, then, Mr. Nkwachuku Oji, the resident electoral commissioner for Anambra State, thank you for talking to us today on The Verdict.